Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Marvel Studios assembled the making of WandaVision. This is an hour-long documentary from 2021, and in case you're wondering, I'm wearing something a little bit different. I think it's the first chance I've gotten to wear this since I got it. Recognize it? It looks very much like Wanda's hoodie in, especially in the final episodes of WandaVision, if you've already seen it. Hopefully you've seen it, the series, before you watch the documentary or watch me talking about the documentary about the show. So yeah, it just makes sense. So I'm not really spoiling anything here. It just the lines in the sleeves. It's the color of the maroon here. It's 100% WandaVision. I got it at a thrift store in Pennsylvania for like $2. I had to wear it for this. So anyway. This documentary, this is obviously for WandaVision. My memory might be failing me, but this was the first Marvel Cinematic Universe series on Disney Plus. Kind of a big thing. And it's a love letter, as Elizabeth Olsen says at one point in this documentary. It's a love letter to television, the history of American television. This is a little girl. She plays Wanda. We see in this story that Wanda grew up as a child in Sokovia watching American sitcoms. And they basically, mom and dad had them on DVD, and her and her brother, she got some, each whenever they got to watch them, they got to pick a different show to watch. And she was a big fan of Dick Van Dyke. And that's where we find herself in the first episode, in a 1950s era black and white TV sitcom filmed in front of a live studio audience, which it actually was, as we find in this documentary. They actually had some of the people in the audience dress up for this. I have a feeling they were all Marvel employees who just got a memo at their desk and said, hey, come to a taping and dress in 50s attire. So yeah, it wasn't just a studio audience, but it was actually a studio audience in costume, even though they were never going to be seen. Even the people behind the show, the Matt Shakman, who was the director of the series, he dressed as if he was a director of a show in the 1950s. So, and they used the lighting effects. They used even things on wires, and when Wanda's making things float with her powers, it's not visual effects. There's no CGI involved. It's literally things on wires floating around. It's using all the technology, the cameras, I'm pretty sure the cameras were from that era. I'm not sure. I know that in later eras that they filmed, the cameras were definitely more modern, but the way they filmed certain things definitely just sort of threw back to each of those eras, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the aughts, all the way up from Dick Van Dyke to Malcolm in the Middle. So, yeah, it's for me, this is one of my favorite series, only because it kept you guessing. I know that a lot of people who watch Marvel films or Star Wars or things like that, they need to have, when you're geeks like me, you kind of have to say, oh, I know that thing as much or better than anybody else. And those people who need to brag about that tend to not like to be surprised. They kind of need to have that I know everything mentality. I think that's where we get a lot of the more toxic attitudes towards things when it comes to pop culture, movies and television and video games and all this other stuff that we feel we need to have an opinion on. And when we get a left turn thrown at us and that we weren't expecting, that we didn't have already in our head in canon, that suddenly, well, that isn't a good thing, bad writing. Yeah, that's my assertion of that whole mentality when it comes to these things. I like it when I don't know what's going to happen. I like it when shows like these, but a premise like this, oh, it's the 50s. We got a little peek as to what was going on when the trailers were put out and things like that. Especially, I think at D23 the year before this premiered, or no, maybe not D23 because that was 2020 and we were not going out that much. So, but yeah, so just the idea that a lot of the stuff had been we got a tease as to what would happen or what this might look like, but it was still a mystery as to why. Was it just a few seconds, or it turned out to be entire episodes? Each episode was a different era of television, and the biggest question was why? Why are we going to take this seriously? Why does this, and how does this fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe? The task of making that happen fell to the creators behind this. Kevin Feige's concept and ideas, just from the artist who designed the sets and the lighting and the visual effects relative to the eras in which these stories took place, all building up to a true Marvel Cinematic Universe conflict in the final episodes between Wanda and, spoiler, Agatha. So, which of course spun off into her own series that just finished a few month ago. Yeah. So this is the kind of thing that, while some people found the first episode to be a little bit slow or confusing or what is going on here, I reveled in it. And thank you to all the people who, put this all together. And just watching this made me realize all the thought that went into it, all the effort that went into it to not just go, okay, just visual effects here, CGI that, and we'll make them in this costume. And there was conscious, deliberate, complex thought into styling these things, and not just saying, okay, we're now just going to film it in black and white, or we're going to put a costume we got just from the old Full House set. Let's just throw some people into some costumes. By the way, her older sisters were in Full House. Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen, her older sisters, obviously Mary Kate and Ashley, were in Full House, and it's kind of weird to see her in that same kind of 80s era look. So that's kind of fun. But there's so many things. One of the great things about this show, and we get to realize in this, it brings together so many elements of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and is the center point, the start of so many other things moving out, such as Monica Rambeau, the introduction of her as an adult. We get to see Randall Park come in from Ant-Man and just be part of something. We get to see us being messed with for the first time with the idea of Evan Peters coming in playing Quicksilver, not Aaron, now Craven, or once Kick-Ass. Aaron, why can't I say his last name? But he played Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Now, wouldn't it have been interesting to bring him back? No, let's bring in Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the X-Men films. Thank you for messing with us. And these are just fun little things. And I realize some people are just, oh man, why they do that? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't have to make sense to you now. You don't know everything. And I know it's frustrating for a lot of people. It's all right. You're going to survive this. And it's also just a television show. None of this is real, and none of it really matters. It is entertainment. So this documentary, for one of my favorite series from Marvel Cinematic Universe, it just shows kind of the joy and the effort that went into this. Just a lot of discussions with Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, and Catherine Hahn and Kat Dennings and Randall Park and so many other people who contributed to this on the front end, whose faces we see, along with the creative people behind the scenes. The people who wrote the music, Robert and Kristen. I can't remember Lopez. They wrote the music for Frozen. Just letting you know. They created all these musical themes with the same core thread. WandaVision, like that just kind of thing that went through every single era of and changed with each episode. It's just, to me, that's one, I could see in their faces when they talk about it. It was fun. It was a challenge, and it was getting to just play in a world that isn't just like, okay, there's Snow Princess, there's like sisters, and then she's got powers. Like you can work on that one thing and blow it out from there. Just let it go. Just go nuts. and make it this big sweeping spectacle that kids and adults, believe it or not, love. It becomes one of the biggest hits of all time for Disney. And you can also go get a chance to go, let's do a half dozen different themes, all with the same core, and just create something crazy. So I honestly, I would have loved to have been in this audience when they filmed the sitcom era thing, but man, I'm a little jealous about that. But beyond that, it's I always love these documentaries because I like see how the bread is made. Is that the term how the bread is made? Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, it's I say give these things, give all the Marvel Studios things a shot if you like these kind of things. I know, again, some people are very set in their ways as to how they believe things should be and should be made and written the way they believe in their own head. I know I can't let go of that, but it's frustrating. So, but hey, seriously, these are the kind of things when it comes to this show. I think it only accentuates it when these Marvel Studios assembled things come out, and just getting to see the joy of creation. Just the joy of putting these kind of things together. Yeah, they're frustrating. And yeah, the visual effects team is overworked and underpaid on just about every Marvel Studios thing. I'm not going to lie about that. That is a thing. And yeah, short deadlines and working 7 days a week kind of thing, 80 hours a day, if that were possible. It's a lot. And their contributions should never be minimized. But when they do it right, they really do it right. So, and that's WandaVision, the making of. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 33. Really far down the list. Or up the list. 33. Ooh, it's a single word, but it's a documentary. I don't know what this is, but we're going to find out when we watch Betrayal. Who's betraying? What are they betraying? What's going on? We'll find out tomorrow. Betrayal on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.